Hello and welcome to the Beyond the Ears podcast, a podcast about all things Disney.
Welcome everyone to our first official episode number 1. Today we're going to be talking about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and just an overall review of that film. And then we're also going to talk about the She-Hulk trailer that just dropped this afternoon.
So, first thoughts. What were your overall thoughts for Doctor Strange? We've both seen it twice now. We saw it on opening night, and then we saw it the Saturday after opening night. So we were both pretty excited about the movie.
Yes. So I would say in general, Doctor Strange is one of my favorite superheroes. And the first time we watched it, I think my hand was covering my mouth probably about half of the movie because I was just like so in love, shocked, just taken back. I personally love the film. I know it's had a mixed reception. I'm not a hard person to please as far as that is concerned. I generally do like most of the films that they release in the MCU, but overall, I liked the pacing of the film. I liked how it immediately went into an action sequence and basically didn't stop throughout the entire movie.
No, I definitely agree because I don't like the movies. I don't mind the movies where you kind of have to sit and think about it, but this has you glued to your seat the whole time. You're like 100% invested in this movie, and it's so fast paced. It's like if you blink, you'll miss something. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's still. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's a perfect film, but like for me, it was a perfect film because that's the kind of films I like.
Yeah, I feel like I heard that they had cut out about 40 minutes. So if they had added that 40 minutes in there, I think it would have been maybe even a little bit better. But to keep an audience attention for more than a 2-hour film, I'm sure is very challenging. So like Josh said, the pacing was good with me. I don't think we needed a lot of character development for anybody. Wanda, of course, we've seen over and over and over again. We had WandaVision.
We've had her since 2015 in Age of Ultron. So.
Yeah, and then Doctor Strange had his own movie.
And he's been in 6 movies since then, pretty much.
Yeah.
But, so, let's get started. So the first scene, we see the Defender Strange with the ponytail and America running through, getting chased by this ribbon tentacled monster. Mm-hmm. So what were your initial thoughts of Defender Strange?
Oh my god. So my first thought was, oh my god, I hate the ponytail. That's just his hair is kind of a signature look for our Stephen Strange. So I saw the ponytail and I was like, what is happening right now? And then of course when he was trying to steal her power, I was like, I don't know what's happening here. That doesn't seem right. And then, of course, everything else happened. And then our Stephen woke up.
Did you notice whenever that Stephen in that universe, with his magic, it wasn't yellow. It was white.
I did not notice that. I was just so invested.
That's one of the things I noticed. And I don't know if it's like because where they were at or what type of magic he was using. Mm-hmm. It's like the first thing I noticed though whenever he started casting spells was I was like, oh, it's white instead of like a yellow and like orangish like flame looking color.
Okay.
But that was just one of the things I noticed. Also, we got the introduction of America, which I was like already like, oh, I kind of like this character already.
Yeah.
Because she's just super interesting.
Mm-hmm. She was very likable as a whole. We didn't get a ton of backstory on her, but we'll kind of get to that in a minute.
Yeah. So when Strange wakes up, he's obviously getting ready for Rachel McAdams' wedding.
Christine's wedding, yes. I'm a huge romantic in the movies and the films. And I love Doctor Strange and Christine together, Dr. Palmer. So naturally, I was very disappointed when she was at when we were at the wedding. I was kind of waiting for that shoe to drop and it'd be like something else happens and the wedding didn't actually go through. That was really surprising. I know at the end of the movie things happen and he does have a future with somebody else. But being invested in their relationship, I was disappointed in that. And then I also did not like the part where he was actually talking with Christine. I thought it was really weird and kind of out of character the way he was like talking about their relationship at her wedding. Mm-hmm. Like that's not something that you should probably do. So I thought that was not a great character moment.
No, I agree. It was weird, like a weird little like blip that they were talking about.
Yeah.
But that whole scene though kind of sets up the whole rest of the movie with the "Stephen, are you happy?" line.
Oh yeah.
Because then through the whole movie you get the "Stephen, are you happy?" So I do like that little bit. So one of the things I loved before he got to the wedding, when he ties the tie, he just does little things with magic, ties the tie with magic.
Yeah.
He fills up the wine glass with magic. It's little things like that that I'm like, oh yes, like we're, in this first movie, it's like he's learning all the magic.
Yeah.
But now it's like, wow, he's just using magic at will, like any time now.
He's definitely mastered it. So I did notice that too. I thought it was really cool.
So then we get into our first actual R Strange, 616 Strange's battle with Gargantos, the octopus monster. And whenever I love that he hears it at the wedding.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, something's happening outside. And he jumps off the ledge and his suit up is just... Did you notice the handkerchief?
Yes, that was cool.
He just pulls it out
really
and it's
cool.
the cape.
Yeah.
Or the cloak.
Yeah.
So that was amazing. And the whole fight scene with Gargantos I thought was really interesting. From the different magic that he used, the hands that he like, the large hands that he cast to stab it in the eye. Just things like that. I was like, oh wow, like we are so invested in this magic right now. This is freaking amazing. But what did you think of like how much magic they're using, or like what was your thoughts on that?
I mean, pretty much the same as yours. We were right there in the movie theater next to each other. I was surprised to see the hands. I thought that was kind of weird from the Doctor Strange that we have seen and known so far in the MCU. You know more about the comics than I do 100%. So I don't know if that's something straight out of the comics, but it's something I definitely noticed.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you if it's like ripped right out of the comics, but like, I mean, casting spells like that is probably going to be like a regular thing that happens in the comics no matter what. So it was interesting though, and I don't know if there's like a specific name for what those hands were, or if they were just something. I kind of got What If vibes from the Doctor Strange episode, which you haven't watched, so you wouldn't know. But there are a bunch of different spells that he casts in that kind of gives you those What If vibes. But definitely a more gory scene whenever he stabs the eye, and the eye actually comes out, and you can actually see like
the hole where the eye was.
The hole where the eye was, and then the eyeball dropping to the ground.
Yeah.
So, like, at that point, it's like, okay, this is not the normal, like, PG-13 kid-friendly movie. It's still, like, kid-friendly, but, I mean, it's definitely, like, the closest R movie we got as still being PG-13.
Yes, so... Correct me if I'm wrong, but Sam Raimi is the director of this one.
Yes.
And he is a horror film director.
Yes.
Historically.
Yes.
And we definitely got those vibes a lot later in the movie more. But I definitely got that horror film kind of aspect there later.
He's claim to fame is the Evil Dead movies.
Okay.
So that's where he got his start, and they're all horror movies. So you should definitely watch those because
Not my thing.
we're both not the biggest horror movie fans. However, just for context,
Yeah.
we should definitely watch some Sam Raimi movies just to see the different visuals that they got from the Doctor Strange movie, and
Yeah.
you kind of get those visuals in Spider-Man movies since he directed Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3.
Mm.
So going back and rewatching those, it'll be fun to see oh wow, that scene looks familiar, similar to Doctor Strange, or the lighting in that scene looks the same.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be fun to go back and watch. So we have the Gargantos fight, and then Wong shows up in that fight as well. Sorcerer Supreme, Wong.
I liked the dynamic between Wong and Doctor Strange in that scene. I thought it was really funny. Obviously, comic relief. I like Wong as a character. He was obviously introduced in Doctor Strange's first movie, so, right?
Yeah.
I like Wong. I thought their dynamic was good.
Yeah, I'm 100% on team Wong get a Disney Plus series, because that would be amazing.
That would be funny. Yeah.
It would. I mean, it could be almost like a serious comedy show.
Yeah, because they're trying to rebuild.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah.
But after watching the movie, I was like, wow, I am such a Wong fan now. We need a Disney Plus series. So Wong makes his entrance, and obviously the whole time they're protecting America from Gargantos. So once they defeat him, they catch up with America, and they're in the pizza shop, which, funny thing, after every time she uses her powers, pizza is what practically refills her in the comics. So that was a quick little nod, and obviously we get more of that through the movie with the pizza balls later. Mm-hmm. But it's just funny that they're in the pizza shop.
Yeah.
And we get a reference to Spider-Man No Way Home when they're talking about Spider-Man and how they don't know who he is and the spell that they cast.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that they're already tying in previous MCU knowledge.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
So I thought it was slightly interesting because she seems to know Doctor Strange in every multiverse that she travels,
Mm-hmm.
but she didn't know Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This is something I noticed.
Yeah. I didn't even notice that, but now that you say that, that makes sense, because she was like, you have a Spider-Man? Does he shoot webs out of his butt?
Yeah, well, and then Earth 838, which we go to in a little bit, we had Doctor Strange, we had Reed Richards, we had Charles Xavier, we had Captain Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't Captain America, was she? Was she
Peggy Carter.
Captain Britain?
Captain Carter.
Captain Carter.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not well educated on Captain Carter. But anyway, we had all of kind of similar superheroes,
Mm-hmm.
or same, just different people. So
yeah, there could be we didn't explore that universe that much, but there could definitely be a Spider-Man in that universe, but completely different than what our Spider-Man is, I'm assuming.
yeah, the whole multiverse thing we can definitely talk about more.
So from the pizza shop, we go to Wanda at the apple orchard.
Mm-hmm.
First off, I'm a huge Wanda fan.
We love Wanda.
Yep. Second favorite MCU TV series, Disney Plus show, is WandaVision.
WandaVision was really, really good. It's really, I think, the only one recently that I've watched start to finish completely through.
Yep.
Loki, I think I missed a couple of episodes at the end there.
Yeah.
And then Falcon and Winter Soldier,
You watched one episode.
I watched a couple, and then I was bored.
Yeah. But WandaVision, though, that is an amazing show.
Yeah.
The practical effects in it, and just the character development for Wanda is just top notch. Mm-hmm. And she does such a great job playing this character. She does just a really good job playing Wanda.
Yeah, absolutely. I liked the scene better the second time because I knew what was coming. And the first time I didn't notice that he didn't say America's name.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second time I knew that he didn't say America's name. And so I was waiting for him to. The first time I was watching her.
Yeah.
So I didn't see him notice that he didn't say her name. But Wanda knew.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Yeah. That's what I like going back and rewatching the movie after watching it the first time. Because the first time it's like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. And like you're just like so into the movie. And then the second time you're like, oh wow, I pick up on this like a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And you catch things.
Mm-hmm.
But so Wanda, you know, she says America's name and that she's the one that's been hunting him. She gets rid of the illusion, and then she's just there in this barren apple orchard with a Darkhold book.
Yeah.
And she pretty much says, either give me America or I'm going to come take her.
Yeah.
So then we go into Carmitage. Then I'm going to let you talk about that for a second.
Carmitage, I thought it was really cool how they brought in people from the different sanctums, the Hong Kong sanctum and the
London
sanctum.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool, and how they had slightly different wardrobes.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that. And then we had a couple different characters. The bullhead.
Oh, the bull?
Yeah.
I don't know who he is, but I love that. I was like, oh, that's amazing that we have this in, like, the regular MCU.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I just love that the entire scene at Carmitage, where her and Steven kind of talk about he's trying to negotiate with her, basically, and then it doesn't work, which I think he was prepared for.
Mm-hmm.
And then ultimately, like, full firepower, her getting into people's heads.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't really expecting that, because I guess we haven't really seen that much of her doing that.
The only time that she really did that was in Age of Ultron, whenever she gave all the Avengers dreams. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
But
It's been a minute.
Beyond that, she hasn't done it since.
Mm-hmm.
Or that we've obviously seen. So,
Interesting.
but that was one thing I was like, oh, wow, that's creepy.
Yes, and then do you want to talk about, like, once she she straight up just slaughtered them.
Oh, yeah.
Just murder.
Yeah.
Slaughtered them.
Yeah, and that's
Crazy.
what was crazy was, like, the burnt bodies that they actually show and, like, the skeletons. It's like, holy crap, we are in a very dark moment in the MCU timeline right now.
Yeah, and then they go inside.
Yep. She steps on that trap.
Mm-hmm.
She gets trapped in a mirror dimension.
Yeah.
And as soon as she uses her powers, like, all those spikes, like just come at her.
Yeah.
And she can't, like, do anything else. And she obviously starts to panic.
Yeah.
And then she starts using the reflections.
Yes.
Which was creepy.
Yes, that when she came out of that reflection, kind of all distorted and broken and, like, pulling herself back together. I was like, oh, that's creepy.
Yeah.
Super creepy.
Didn't expect that from a Marvel movie.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all. But it was cool.
Yeah. 100%. And at first I thought, like, whoa, she's casting, like, a spell, like not a clone of herself, but, like, an astral projection of herself. And then she started, like, popping back together, kind of like Nebula, whenever she gets beat up. Mm-hmm. And she starts, like, popping back together. I was like, oh my gosh, it's actually Wanda.
Yeah.
So that was crazy. Then obviously she takes out Wong, mm-hmm. and she takes out Strange, mm-hmm. and then she starts to draw America's powers. Mm-hmm. And then America, obviously, when she's in, like, stress or high duress, it's like that's when her powers activate. Mm-hmm. So her star portals open up, mm-hmm. and Strange tackles her, and they start going through these different dimensions.
Cool.
And each dimension, I didn't write them all down, but we get an animated dimension. Mm-hmm. We get that paint dimension.
Yeah.
We get the dimension that they're like cubicle little people. We get a dimension that looked like Stark drones from Spider-Man Far From Home.
Okay.
And then we got that Jurassic World, Jurassic Park looking scene where the T-Rex is fighting the Triceratops.
I was just in awe both times. I was paying attention to it, but I was just like, oh my god, this is cool. Of course, in his first movie, when he traveled through the different dimensions, it was, I think a couple of them were the same. That one where they turned into cubes. I feel like he did in his movie.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
That was kind of the one I noticed, but overall, loved it. Thought it was super cool.
Yeah. So then they land, and Ashley noticed this on the second rewatch. She's patted me when we're in the theater. She's like, they landed on the same rooftop where Defender Strange is buried. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's interesting.
Yeah, so
she landed there.
The exact same roof on Earth 616. Sorry, I've got it written down, but dyslexia. Same rooftop on Earth 616 and 838, which I thought, I was proud of myself for noticing that.
Mm-hmm. Every time that she opens a portal, she goes there. Because when American Doctor Strange come down the stairs and they exit that little alleyway and they go through that iron gate, whenever Christine and Strange go to that dead dimension, they come out of that same alleyway, same iron gate. So it must be just like a spot where she just travels to. I guess where no one can see her when she's traveling dimensions. I'm not sure, but I did notice that whenever they traveled to the evil Strange's dimension. But anyway, let's explore 838 because wow,
beautiful. I loved it. Gorgeous. I love the greenery, the colors.
Very utopia. The monochromatic. Chromatic, yeah, there you go.
People are dressed in all black, you said, with hats.
Yep, hats.
Something you noticed.
Gray and white, everything. Super clean, super interesting though. So that was one of the things, and then we get the great cameo, Bruce Campbell, which is in all the Sam Raimi movies, and he is played as Pizza Papa.
Oh, yeah.
That's Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, I know. It took me a minute to get there, but yes, I know who Bruce Campbell is.
Yeah, he's pretty much like Sam Raimi's go-to guy for cameos and whatnot and characters. So he makes his appearance as Pizza Papa, selling pizza balls, which we actually made this past weekend.
Yes. So the movie depicted them as more slimy and gooey. And ours were a little bit more dry, but they were delicious.
Yeah, it was more like a
pizza bread.
Pizza bread
shaped like a ball.
Shaped like a muffin.
Yeah, because we did the muffin tin, but
they were good, and it got the point across.
Yeah,
we'll actually post it on our Instagram page so you can see.
Yeah.
Which is, speaking of Instagram page, you can follow us at Beyond the Ears at Instagram.
It's BTE podcast, right?
I believe so.
I think it is because I had to. Josh made the Instagram for us. He's kind of taking charge of this whole thing, since I have a lot of other things that I work on. But I think it's BTE podcast. But you'll be able to tell by the thumbnail kind of picture.
Yeah, the thumbnail should be the same.
It is. Anyway, moving on. So they stop by Pizza Papa.
It is BTE podcast.
Okay. I'm 99% sure. Okay.
So we get the Pizza Papa scene. Obviously, Strange casts a little spell where he starts beating himself up for 3 weeks or whatever.
I thought that was kind of out of character for Strange. A little different.
Yeah, but at the same time, it was funny.
It was funny, for sure.
Okay,
so then they step on those...
memory banks.
The memory banks.
Yep. So we see Christine and Strange's memory, where he gets the watch that is from the first Doctor Strange movie that has the cracked glass.
I love that.
Yep.
I love the whole memory bank idea. I thought that was really cool. It made me love Christine even more, which I think we all love Christine. Made me pretty sad that they actually, aren't going to be together.
Yeah. Yep, and then we have America step on hers, and then we get pretty much like her origin story.
Yeah.
Which I like in it's probably like a 20-second sequence of her two mothers, in like the universe that she's from. She's like a little bitty kid. She's playing in flowers. Her moms walk up. She hands one of the moms a flower. She goes to grab a second flower, and a bee stings her. And then her first star portal opens up. And that's the first time, I guess, that she made a portal.
Yeah.
So the parents go through, and no idea where they went.
Yeah.
And then America goes through, and then is pretty much, I'm assuming, from the time she does that to the time that we see her, is just traveling the multiverse all the time.
Yeah. Which, I love that. I thought it was a really creative way to introduce, like, the backstory of this character. But it also made me really sad for her. Now that we're parents and we have a young child, I can't even imagine. What would you say? She was probably like 4 or 5?
Yeah, I wish she was like 5 or 6 years old, probably.
And she's lost both of her parents.
Yeah.
And I just imagined what her life was like after that.
Yeah.
And we know from, her talking in the movie that she has always kind of imagined that she killed her moms.
Yeah.
She sent him to a really miserable place, and she feels really guilty about it, and she's held on to that for years and years and years, and I think that's just really sad.
Yeah. But at the same time, later on in the movie, when Strange gives her that big pep talk at the end, he says, every time you've opened up a portal, you've taken us where we need to go.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't think you killed your parents. I think you just took them to a place where they needed to go.
Yeah.
Where they'd be safe.
I think we'll find them, for sure.
Yeah. I'm not sure what movie or...
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do that, but it's Marvel, so I'm sure they'll figure out something super creative.
Yeah.
But I obviously don't think that they're dead.
No, I totally agree. So from there, we go to the Sanctum Sanctorum in the 838 universe, which has the statue of Doctor Strange.
Yes.
And says that he's the single hero that defeated Thanos, and the snap didn't happen on that universe. However, it's a sham, because we find out later that Doctor Strange was actually using the Darkhold. But who opens the door at the Sanctum Sanctorum is... Mordo. So, where we left Mordo last time in Doctor Strange 1, he left Comertage. He said, magic shouldn't be used like this. The bill comes due. He goes on his quest to take magic from people that don't need to be using magic, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, this Mordo walks up to Strange and gives him a hug and says, "My brother, I knew this day would come." And then we get the whole sequence of Strange and America and Mordo drinking tea and talking about traveling the multiverse. And then we have the I don't know if you call it poisoning. I guess it'd be poisoning. Yeah. But they use the Sands of Visanti, which is it stops magic in the comics. But we get that, and then we wake up and they are in those cubes. So from there we get alternate Christine.
Yeah.
Which I was all about, because I was like, oh yes, like I love Christine, so.
Yeah, I'm like Doctor Strange. I love Christine in every multiverse. She's fantastic. I think Rachel McAdams does a perfect job. Once again, MCU perfect casting choice with Rachel McAdams and Christine. I think she's just obviously really likable. I think there's something so strong about a very intelligent woman who's not just a pretty face, but there's a lot of substance behind that. So
Yeah.
we could talk about that kind of stuff forever, but we'll move on.
Yeah. So Strange wakes up and he's asking like, "What are we doing here? What's happening?"
Mm-hmm.
She kind of gives him the rundown on like, "You're from another multiverse. We don't know. You can have an infection or the coronavirus or something."
Yeah.
So we don't know what kind of diseases you're carrying. So you're in these containment cells.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get the grand introduction of the Illuminati.
So I'm just gonna say it. I thought the name was just silly. The Illuminati is probably straight out of the comics.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So I just giggled a little bit at the name, but then I moved past it. So, but when they walked in to get Strange
Yep.
with those like cyborg robot
Ultron bots.
Yep. So creepy. It gave me Doctor Who vibes. I can't remember the name of what those are called in Doctor Who. The Cybermen. They looked like the Cybermen from Doctor Who, but like more modern. And so it was immediately creepy.
Yeah. I love those because I was like, ooh, that just opens the door of like, who made these in this 838 universe?
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get to that in a second because we get the introduction of the Illuminati.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mordo says, "We're the Illuminati," and he says his name, Baron Karl Mordo, which is a reference to the actual comics. Then we get, Doctor Strange, Doctor Strange Mad Lib or Madism, where he's like, how do I say that? He's smirking, he's smarting off.
Yeah.
And Captain Carter
Mm-hmm.
throws her shield.
Mm-hmm.
So then we get introduction of Captain Peggy Carter.
She's a badass.
Yep.
Love
and
her.
Love Haley Atwell as Captain Carter.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely perfect.
Oh, yeah.
And she does a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get Black Bolt, an Inhuman.
Mm-hmm.
Same guy that played Black Bolt in the crappy Inhumans TV show.
Which I did not watch, but you did.
Yep, and it sucked. So
It looked like it was going to suck.
he was the actors themselves were the only good parts of the show.
Yeah.
But, he kind of got a somewhat redemption.
A little bit. For about a minute.
A minute. So we get him, and then we get Captain Marvel.
Was that her best friend?
Yep.
Okay. I didn't make that connection until I was talking to one of the girls from work about... No, it wasn't one of the girls from... It was one of the guys from work. Doesn't matter. I was talking to my friends from work, and I was explaining kind of the plot because they didn't care that I was talking about the plot with them. Mm-hmm. And I was explaining that whole thing, and then I was like, oh my god, I think that is Captain Marvel's best friend from our Captain Marvel movie.
Yep.
And then I was like, oh my god, it is.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah.
But I didn't make that connection until way after we saw the movie the first time.
Yeah, Maria Rambeau.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously Monica was in WandaVision.
Mm-hmm.
That's her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So it's super cool
Yeah.
to have like both of them.
I wish I had made that instant connection.
Yeah.
Seeing it the first time.
Yeah, I did. Obviously.
I figured you after I realized, I'm like, oh well, I feel like an idiot.
Yeah.
Should have known.
So the next part is hands down probably like one of my favorite parts of the movie. One, because I love the Fantastic Four. Mm-hmm. They're my favorite team. Like, in Marvel teams, you have like the Avengers, the Inhumans, the X-Men. Then you get the Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four, the first family of Marvel. So, like, I gravitate to the family thing now. So, I absolutely loved it. And it's John Krasinski as Reed Richards.
Oh, yeah.
Which the first viewing, the whole crowd just went crazy.
I feel like that was the first time we were in a theater where that happened, right?
It happened in Avengers Endgame when Cap picked up the hammer.
Thor's hammer.
Thor's hammer, yeah.
No, yeah.
Yep. So, just an amazing scene.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he's been one of my fan cast as Reed Richards pretty much since we started watching The Office.
Yeah.
And that was like in early 2018. I was like, holy crap, he would be the perfect Reed Richards. And then I guess it was like a thing that I didn't even know about.
Mm-hmm.
But a bunch of people had kind of championed him to be Reed Richards. So then I was like, holy crap, I actually made like a somewhat interesting fan cast myself before even knowing about it.
Yeah.
But it was just great to see him as Mr. Fantastic. I thought he killed it. He comes in this little portal, that little blue portal that he comes out of.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of like goes off over him, and it was very, very similar to the doorways that the TVA uses in the Loki show, where they travel to different multiverses.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was interesting because Kang, or Immortus in the Loki TV series, is a descendant of Reed Richards 100 generations in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh my gosh, like that is crazy. I got that on the second rewatch as well. So the first rewatch I didn't notice it. The second, because I was just so like, oh my god, John Krasinski. But the second rewatch I noticed it, and I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. So we get the whole scene with, I guess, the trial.
Mm-hmm. Well, Charles Xavier.
Well, they kind of go through the trial first,
Okay.
and then they pull up Charles Xavier,
Okay.
which is amazing. Why don't you talk about that?
No, you can go ahead.
No.
I like the trial, but it wasn't like wow for me.
Okay, sorry, we are back. We had a technical difficulty.
Uh-huh. We're still learning how to use all of the equipment.
Yeah. So it was just a wrong pressed button on my end.
Yeah, it's fine.
But so we were at the Charles show up part of the Illuminati, which he rolls in on his 1990 comic wheelchair floating hover chair.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, I love Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier. Like, it's just like seeing him and then hearing the X-Men animated TV series theme, the na 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 na, as he like hovers in, was just like absolutely amazing. So just seeing him was just like great.
Mm-hmm.
And that obviously ties in like, okay, well, now the X-Men are like officially a part of the MCU, because this is the first appearance of the Fantastic Four, the Inhumans officially, and the X-Men. Mm-hmm. We get all that in like one like short clip. So as that's happening, Wanda dream walks into the Wanda of 838's reality, using the Darkhold, and a creepy scene, obviously, like whenever she possesses the body.
Yeah.
She gets super emotional because she sees the boys there.
Yeah.
And then the boys go to sleep, or something happens.
She gets pulled from it because of Wong.
Yep.
And
The one girl.
I don't know her name.
Yep. But she sounded like a Wakandan.
Mm-hmm.
That's what my initial thought was. I think her
from-
name was Sarah.
Was she from the London Sanctum?
No, she was from... I'm not sure, actually.
She had a British accent, so
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure. But that was really sad.
Yeah.
So, you would probably be better to explain that part.
What?
What happened with the Darkhold and...
When she destroyed the Darkhold?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the spell pretty much got broken, and she gets sucked back into her like own body.
Right, and that girl who destroyed the Darkhold died. And it was a really sad seeing it because you just get to see her basically like burn to a crisp, kind of, with the Darkhold.
Yeah, and then the single tear.
Mm-hmm.
That was sad.
Oh, that was really sad.
Yeah.
Because she made that sacrifice knowing what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But it couldn't be Wong.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So obviously the the trial continues, and they talk about incursions, which is a giant Easter egg for what's the future to come in the Marvel movies.
Mm-hmm.
Which incursions is like the collapse of the multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big thing, and we're probably going to be seeing nothing but that from now on until we have like the next a couple of Avengers movies. So we have that to look forward to.
Yeah. And then back to Wanda.
Yep.
So the Darkhold is destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
She's freaking out.
Yep.
She gets pissed.
Yep.
Because she's like, well, you're the Sorcerer Supreme. I assume that you know things. You're going to have to tell me everything or I'm going to murder your friends, basically. And so then he takes her to...
Mount Wundagore.
Okay.
Wundagore Mountain.
I knew you would know the name of it, but I didn't write that down.
Yeah. The original source of the Darkhold. So Wong says, it's just a copy. The book's just a copy. They go there, and this shrine was built by Chthon, which is an elder god, pretty much before like man walked Earth. And he wrote this book pretty much about, just dark magic. So this whole temple is a dark magic temple, and like it shows all the different spells and everything. Mm-hmm. And like you see it on the floors, on the walls, on the ceiling, and then you get the wide shot of like Wanda or the Scarlet Witch on the wall.
Yeah, really
which
cool.
was crazy. And then those monsters bowing down to Wanda because it's a throne.
So basically, Wanda and Wong fight.
Yep.
She blows him off the edge of the cliff.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, that's the end of Wong. And just like that, like it happened so fast. I was like, holy crap, like that is the end of Wong. We're not seeing him again. But
and then she dreamwalks.
She dreamwalks again.
Mm-hmm.
Gets back into the body of 838 Wanda.
Much faster this time. This is when 838 Wanda and her boys are asleep on the couch.
Yeah,
together.
So she pretty much just like
goes right in there.
Yeah, goes right in, goes straight to the Illuminati, and just starts wrecking everyone.
Yes.
Ultron bots included, because she's obviously hunting America, and the Illuminati are like, okay, we got to go protect this place. The four of them come up: Peggy, Reed, Black Bolt, and Maria Rambeau.
Mm-hmm.
And Reed says, "Wanda, don't do this.
Mm-hmm.
Black Bolt can kill you with the sound of his voice."
Mm-hmm.
And she says, or with one word of his mouth.
Yeah.
What mouth?
One whisper from his mouth.
One whisper from his mouth.
And she said,
What
mouth?
mouth?
And then his mouth disappeared. And then it's not funny, but it was so crazy. The first time we saw it, his mouth disappeared.
Yep.
And then
just blows up.
He starts panicking and feeling his face, and he kind of is kind of squirming and moving his head.
And he screams.
His mouth, yeah.
He screams internally.
I didn't realize that happened.
And in the scene, you'll see him scream, and from like the earlier shot where they kill their Strange.
Yeah.
It like has shock waves. You see the shock waves start from like down by his jaw.
Yeah.
Up to his temple, and then where it blows out his head. Which is so bad to laugh at, but at the same time, it was like, oh my gosh, they killed him just like that.
Dead immediately, and then Reed Richards.
Yep, they just start undoing him like spaghetti.
Yeah. And then his head pops.
And his head pops.
And you're like, holy shit.
Yep, and I was
John
like,
Krasinski.
Yeah. I was like, wow, that was like 3 minutes of screen time for him.
Yeah.
So then she splits Captain Carter in half with her own shield.
Well, Captain Carter and Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
It's Captain Marvel,
Marvel,
right?
yeah.
Okay. They look at each other like, holy shit,
Yeah.
we're fucked.
Yeah.
And then they have a pretty good fight sequence.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, Captain Carter gets split in half by her own shield.
Yep. And then Captain Marvel, which this was been like a huge debate, is that how can Captain Marvel be killed by a statue?
Yeah.
But if you notice, the whole time she's fighting Wanda, her powers are getting sucked by Wanda. So, like, she's sucking her powers away from Maria the whole time.
Yeah.
So then, like, by the time she gets crushed by the thing, she's not, like, fully powered. So, I mean...
You never know with Marvel.
Yeah, you don't know. I mean, she could just be really stunned, but at the same time, I'm like,
I just assumed she was dead.
Yeah, I'm the same. But it was just... That's something that has been, like, a hot debate online. So Wanda is now chasing Doctor Strange, our Doctor Strange, Christine from 838 Universe, and America. They are trying to find the Book of Ashanti, which is a very comic book reference book. That's where Steven gets like 99% of his powers from in the comics. So, or the Vishanti proper, which is like an actual like race of like beings. So they go through this tunnel system, which is like the whole time Wanda is like partly crippled, running through these this tunnel water system. Just a crazy scene because you're just waiting for jump scares. And yeah, just an awesome scene. We get to the Book of Ashanti.
Yeah, so that last part of that scene where Doctor Strange is trying to open the door, and he is the only one who knows how to open the door, and then he can't get it open, and he's trying to think about how to get the door open, and then Christine hands him the watch.
Oh, the watch, yeah.
And it's the same watch from his universe, and it's broken, the same, and it unlocks the door.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Yeah, it was a really good scene. So we get to the book. Wanda is like underwater at the moment because they flooded the tunnel system. So then we get the book, and then as soon as he opens the book, she attacks. I think she attacks America, or she attacks him. But the book is pretty much destroyed, like as soon as he gets it. And then she forces America to open a portal, and then she pushes Christine and Strange through the portal, which leads them to this dead Earth. While America and Wanda go back to Wanda's actual body. Crazy. So
we're gonna have to.
All right.
So it gets a little tricky to talk about because we're in several places at once. Do you want to talk about Doctor Strange and Christine?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're on this incursioned Earth.
Yeah.
And the whole time everything is like desolate. There's nothing there. Vehicles are floating in the air. Everything is like ink marked away and like just like disintegrating. So we walk in to the Sanctum Sanctorum, and we meet Sinister Strange is what he's called.
That makes sense.
So we get a little bit of like backstory because he's like, "How do I know you're me?" And we get the Donna, Steven's sister, that died in the movie. She died on like in an ice, like on a pond or a frozen over pond or a frozen over lake.
He described it in the movie where she fell through the frozen lake and he wasn't able to save her.
Yeah, and that's why he became a doctor, to save lives, which is like really sad and cool.
Yeah.
So we get this amazing fight sequence because Strange needs the book, the Darkhold.
Well, yeah, he realizes that Sinister Strange, as you said he's named, holds the Darkhold.
Yep. And as soon as the thing, like the fight starts, we Sinister Strange pops his third eye above on his forehead.
Yeah.
Which Ashley was like, "Holy crap!" That was like the first thing she said when we come out of the movie theater. Like, why did he have 3 eyes?
Yeah.
But we get this amazing like musical battle. And that was like one of my favorite scenes of the movie because it was like so different and so like crazy.
Yeah, I've definitely never seen anything like that. And I remember thinking the first time, like, this is so weird.
Yeah.
Who would think of this? But it is really cool.
Yeah. So we get this whole fight scene of them trying to get the Darkhold. And while that's happening there, Wanda's pretty much just starting to siphon off America's power. And it's like kind of like an exposition part where they're like talking about it and about the kids and like it's just like a whole, it's not like slow, but it's building on like what's about to happen.
Yeah.
So Strange gets the Darkhold, and then Christine's like, if you're gonna dream walk, how are you gonna dream walk into your universe if there's not another body there?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, there's not an alive body. And then you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, zombies.
He's going to possess the dead Strange body.
Yeah.
So then we get this amazing shot where he punches his hand out of the rocks that he was buried and we get a walking corpse that uses a sling ring and everything.
Yeah, it was a little gross.
Yeah.
With his hand, the way it moved and
Yeah.
everything. But man, I was so invested at that point. I was just like, holy shit. And I know like Marvel Zombies is a thing in the comics,
Yep.
right?
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know
a big
how
thing.
much I don't know how much that is like leading into anything at all or if it's relevant, but I did like
Zombie vibes.
notice that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely zombie vibes. So we get to the Mount Wundagore mountain, or like near Mount Wundagore mountain, and these demons start to pop out of Strange's eye, or like around Strange, because he's possessing a dead body.
Yeah.
And he can't do that. So Christine has to protect Strange back on this other universe.
Yeah.
While he's doing it. So she takes this, I can't remember what it's called, but she takes it and starts firing off like these fireball blast things.
Yeah. Go back to hell.
Yeah. So she does that and
And
she
she had
says,
to pull him out, basically.
She tells him,
He's panicking.
yep, because he's like cold and like shivering, and she's like, you're the Sorcerer Supreme, like use that to your advantage. And then he like realizes like, oh, like he says, I'm the master of the mystic arts. Use that to your advantage. And then he does something amazing. He takes all these demons and makes this amazing cape, cloak, winged demon thing, and he flies to Mount Wundagore.
Yes.
And it's just an amazing scene. And as soon as he lands there, Wanda's like, hypocrite, because
Yes.
he's dream walking in that body. Which was just a great scene. And so pretty much from there we get like a pretty gruesome fight between Wanda and Strange.
His arm is like disintegrated at some point.
Yeah.
And he's like laying on the ground with like bones left on one of his arms.
So
kind of propped up.
Yeah, and we get this amazing monologue. I can't remember if Wanda gets knocked out or what happens, but when Strange, they trap her in that ball.
Yeah.
Because Wong comes back.
Yes, Wong came back and he was like, "You're gonna have to steal America's power."
Yeah.
And I was like, no, Wong, no way.
Yeah.
Like, you would never say that, but he did.
Yeah. He
It's
said it.
the only way.
Yeah, it's the only way. So then Strange goes into this amazing monologue to America that we kind of discussed earlier, where it said, anytime we needed to go somewhere, you brought me to the location that I needed to be.
Yeah.
Or where we needed to be. So, I mean, this whole sequence is just like great monologue. And America like gets like this like surge of power, wakes up, star punches Wanda, and then she gives Wanda what she wants.
Yeah.
She gives Wanda like the kids' view and everything, and it's like
she shows her exactly what she's always wanted.
Yeah.
Like, Wanda's whole motive is to be with her boys. But to do that, because they don't exist in her universe, she's going to have to take them from another Wanda.
Yeah.
And it's like she knew that, but she didn't comprehend what that meant. And earlier in the movie, someone had asked, I don't remember who, well, what happens to the other Wanda?
Mm-hmm.
And somebody did ask that earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
And she kind of just brushed it off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she like knew it was a thing, but she didn't want to acknowledge it was a thing. So America gives her the scene exactly as she wanted. She wanted to take the boys, and so here we are with the two boys, Wanda from 838, right? And then
our
Wanda, and the boys are absolutely just
terrified
of her, like horrified.
They call her
Don't
a witch.
hurt our mom. Yep. And they're crying, they're like freaking out.
Yeah.
And she's horrified.
She's horrified, and she has that scene where she yells like, "Stop it!"
Yeah, she loses her temper with him.
Yeah. And then like at that moment she realized like, oh my gosh, like what am I actually doing? And I think that's where the like actual Wanda.
Well, when the boys were like, don't hurt our mom, and they were like trying to fight her off almost.
Mm-hmm. When actual like the Wanda
kind of took over.
The subconscious Wanda took over.
We didn't talk about Charles Xavier getting killed.
Oh,
that whole scene.
That was crazy.
Yeah, because
he's got his telepathy.
Yeah.
So he went into the mind of Wanda, and like under this rubble, you get 838 Wanda trapped in there.
Yeah. And
he says, "Wanda Maximoff, your body is being used, but your mind is trapped in here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna help you escape." And then this like red cloud comes, and it like you don't expect it, and then all of a sudden she just pops out of the cloud and snaps his neck.
Yeah.
And then that's the end of Charles.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah. Sorry we missed that part. We could literally make this podcast easily 3 hours, the length of the whole, longer than the length of the movie.
Yeah.
Easily.
Talking about everything.
We could just talk about it forever. But we're trying to somewhat kind of pace ourselves, speed it up, because we still want to talk about She-Hulk in the trailer. So anyway, moving on.
Yeah, so we get the whole scene with Wanda and the kids. Mm-hmm. The other Wanda says, I can't remember what she actually said.
Well, because our Wanda started to cry.
Yes.
And the other Wanda walked up to her and said, just know, something to the effect of, just know that they will be loved.
Ah, yes, that's what it was.
Oh.
Yeah, and then Strange tells America to like close the portal. Mm-hmm. And they close the portal, and now we're just stuck with Wanda and like the original like Strange, America, and Wong. And then Wanda says, "There's one thing I have to do. I've got to destroy it all."
Yeah.
So she destroys Wundagore Mountain, and like kind of wrapping it up, the movie. America finds Strange and Christine. Christine and Strange have like a one last moment. Mm-hmm. On the dying world.
I was hoping with them. I was like, oh, okay.
She's going to come back to our Earth.
Yes, come back to our Earth. There can just be two Christines. It's fine. As long as she's with Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
You know, I was really hoping for that, but didn't happen.
Yeah. Yep. And it was like a really good like character moment for Strange.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like I can't be with Christine in any multiverse. So it's sad, but at the same time like it's super interesting. But Christine actually was like, wow, you're like much different than the other Strange.
Yeah.
So it's like a good like little redemption.
And so when Wanda destroyed, is it WandaCore?
Wondagore.
I need to do more research, I guess, when we talk about every single thing. I wrote all of the character names down and a couple other things. But you did a great job with like writing everything down. So when she destroys that.
Yep. It destroys all the dark holes in all these other dimensions.
Yes. And we see like a puff of red, right?
Yep.
And so I know from talking to some other people that have seen the movie that everyone, you know, it's a big topic for discussion, you know, whether or not she actually died.
Yeah.
Which I don't think she did.
No, I don't think she did either.
But
because we left her on such a weird like she's the villain, but she's not the villain, but she is the villain.
Kind of the same thing with Captain Marvel, where they were like, that wouldn't really kill her. Mm-hmm. But, you know, now knowing what you talked about, that makes sense, where her power was being drained.
Yeah.
But that's not the case for Wanda.
Yeah.
Here.
She just sacrificed herself.
So I think she's still alive, but we'll see.
Yeah. Who knows? I don't think they want to lose Elizabeth Olsen because she's a great actress and like she's really taken on the role of Wanda. So
yeah,
it's awesome.
So I'm honestly completely forgetting the end, how the movie wraps before the end credits.
Strange fixes the watch.
Right, and then they're training in
Carmitage. Yep.
With all of the new recruits or...
Yeah. And America's there.
Yes. Okay.
And
Here
it's
we
like...
go. It's coming back.
And America... And Strange says like the same thing to Wong as Mordo said to the Ancient One.
Yeah.
Like, he's going too fast.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going slow.
Mm-hmm.
And Strange pretty much says the exact same thing to Wong about America.
Yeah.
Because she's training
she
to
needs
use
to have patience. And...
Yeah. Because she's training to use the mystic arts as well.
Yes.
And to use her powers, but just to master her powers. And then we get like the last scene with America and Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
And like it's a great part because it's like we've gotten Strange from his movie to Infinity War to Endgame to Spider-Man No Way Home and now this movie. And like the character development for his character from being like this arrogant guy to being super arrogant in Infinity War. Endgame, he like kind of didn't have a huge part, but like he did. He was just showed up kind of thing, and he did his thing. And No Way Home, it's like it starts to break down the character a little bit. He's a little bit more sympathetic with Peter. Mm-hmm. And now like he's super sympathetic with this kid, and he's like loves this kid.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think it's like great character development for the character, like as a whole.
Yeah.
And like they leave on good terms. She's training at Carmitage, and he goes back to New York. He fixes the watch, which is like symbolism as like I'm gonna start a new
closed chapter.
Yeah.
New chapter, moving forward.
Yeah. So then we get him like dressing up and walks out of the sanctum, and as he walks out of the sanctum you start hearing the music from the third eye. That like the guitar like and then the third eye pops up on his head.
He collapses in the middle of the street and screams, and then the third eye pops up, and then the movie ends.
Yep. So then we go through the credit scenes through the credits to the first credit scene, and it's Clea. Mm-hmm. Which in the comics is a big deal because that is Doctor Strange's wife in the comics. Mm-hmm. It's also the Oh my gosh, I'm so blanking right now.
Dark Dimension.
Yeah, she, it's Dormammu.
Yeah.
It's his sister's daughter. Clea is Dormammu's niece. That's the word I'm looking
Interesting.
for.
We'll see. What did you think of the casting choice? Charlize Theron as Clea.
I'm fine with it. But I haven't seen her in anything in so long. I'm not sure.
I feel like she's got to get her foot in everything, or her hands in everything. So I think it'll be hard for us, Team Christine people, to move forward. But I'm hoping that I'm sure they'll do a really good job of building that connection.
Yeah. She's an awesome character in the comics. And I think in the comics right now, she's actually Sorcerer Supreme, like in the Marvel Comics universe.
Okay.
But, and then the very post-credit scene, it's just Bruce Campbell finishing the spell of beating himself up. And he's like, it's over! And then the movie ends.
Yeah.
Which was just kind of funny. But, real quick, we will talk about...
The She-Hulk trailer.
Yes. And I will let you take lead on this.
Okay, so I don't know anything about the backstory and anything about the character. I mean, you could assume some things from the trailer, but I will let Josh speak about that. First of all, I was not excited about the show at all, and Josh made me watch the trailer, and now I'm excited to watch the show. Like, I think it's going to be really, really good. We have Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah.
We don't know, I don't know, you probably do, how much he's going to be in the show. But we did see him in the trailer, and he's doing some training with her, which seems like it's going to be really, really exciting.
Yeah.
Right out of the gate from the trailer, it seems like she is going to kind of be like how, what is it, Professor Hulk?
Mm-hmm.
How he, is the Hulk, but he, dresses up and he can, talk and everything.
Yeah.
In the trailer, she's the She-Hulk, but she's, going on dates.
Yeah.
With people.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much of the time she's She-Hulk, all the time.
In the comics, she's she's She-Hulk, I would say 80% of the time.
Okay.
Because I can't remember what exactly it is, but I think it's a blood transfusion. So we see a car wreck in the trailer,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's her in that car getting in a wreck.
Oh, okay.
And I think Hulk is the only blood relative, and he gives her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Blood
he gives
transfusion
the
from
blood
his
from
blood.
him. Yep.
That makes sense. I literally just watched the trailer the one time, and I was like, this would be perfect. We can just throw it in the podcast today.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to be enough content to do a full podcast on for someone like me. Probably you could probably talk about it for 30 minutes.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm excited about it. I'll definitely watch the show. Not just because we're going to probably do podcasts on it in the future, but because I do think it looks good. So I would genuinely watch this even if we weren't doing podcasts on Disney material.
Yeah.
So it'll be streaming on Disney Plus in August.
August 17th.
August 17th. So.
Yeah. It looks great. She looked great. And it looks super funny. And hopefully we'll get a Daredevil reference since it's a lawyer show. So.
Yeah.
Then he's
what
in
else? You think he'll be in there?
I think he'll make a cameo. But Charlie Cox.
No. I know who you're talking about. I'm trying to think about. So the last time he made an appearance was in
Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
I'm just trying to make connections in my brain, and it's not working. I'm too tired at this point.
But yeah, so my rating for Doctor Strange, I would say, would be a flat A.
Yeah.
Like a 90%. Or like a 90... I would say like a 95%.
Yeah. I agree. I think that we could have done with like 10 to 15 minutes more content.
I agree.
I don't agree with people saying that it had pacing issues, but it did move very, very quickly. And there were some areas where I would have loved to get a little bit more. But overall, love the movie. It was great. Like I said at the very beginning, Doctor Strange is one of my favorite characters in the MCU. And after this movie, I'm sure he always will be.
Yeah.
So I don't know, what would you rate it? If we're rating MCU movies, would it be number one?
It is my number one. As of now.
It's so hard for me to make that call definitively. It definitely up there for me. We'll have to do a podcast where we rate them.
Yeah.
And your list will be very different from mine.
Oh yeah,
I can guarantee
100%.
it. So.
Yeah. But as of now, mine ranks at number one. I'll have to watch the movie again, and I give it that, like, every time. Like, pretty much I moved it to number one because I'm in the moment, and
Yeah.
I need to watch it again. But this is such a great movie, in my opinion.
I don't think it has that, like, watchability factor, as far as it's not something that I would want to watch super often. Like, Iron Man 2. I love Iron Man 2. I know people hate on Iron Man 2, but to me, that's just like a movie I can kick back on a Tuesday night and just watch Iron Man 2. Not the same with Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, to me. But definitely up there in my rating.
Yeah, she is a Iron Man fiend, so.
Do love me some Iron Man.
But, yeah, so wrapping this up, love the movie. Can't wait for the She-Hulk show.
Mm-hmm.
We will try to be back and have an actual episode on this coming Monday.
Yep. My work schedule sucks this weekend, but we'll make it happen.
Yep. And yeah, follow us on Instagram at the BTE podcast.
Yes, and we're currently on Spotify.
Mm-hmm. This is all new to us right now, and we're still learning. So it'll be exclusively Spotify until probably this weekend when I have more time to look at it.
we really just need more time to sit down and discuss and research, and then hopefully we will be on more streaming platforms soon. But for right now on Spotify, give us a 5-star rating if you like the show. Make sure you follow along. That way we can get out there to more people. We discovered from our, introduction episode that it was very hard to find us because we were it was the first episode.
Yeah.
So the more ratings we get from people, the more views, the easier
better
it will be to find us.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was tricky to find our first podcast.
Yes.
But we are on there, so check us out on Spotify. Check us out on Instagram at the BTE podcast. And we will catch you guys on next Monday.
All right.
See you then.
Have a good day, everyone.